Hi everyone, Chris England here. This time we're going with a very special double mythic banner for our summon. So normally we don't get doubles until the end of the book, but to be fair, this is a time leap banner. So this could very well be the end of the chapter. So we start out with the Demon King. We start with Fomortis as a anima mythic, offering the HP plus 5 and attack and strength plus 4. So we have the final boss of Sacred Stones finally as a colorless beast armor. Why do I get the sinking suspicion that this is Fallen Edelgard all over again? I mean, beautiful artwork by Daisuke Izuka, and I'll admit that having Yuichi Nakamura, so Greed from Full Metal Alchemist, from Brotherhood, basically any version that had Ling in it, you had Yuichi Nakamura as Greed, whereas the original series had Juichi Suwabe. We also have Graham Aker from Gundam 00 or Mr. Bushido, and Bruno Bucciolati from the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind. I'll admit that I'm a little bit disappointed that we didn't get a completely different voice actor for Fomortis. Like the best example that I would have liked was Hochu Otsuka, who did the little red demon inside Soul Evans from Soul Eater, or we can do Jiraiya from Naruto. But that is just me having a difference. His kit includes Bonfire. We have AD Far Trace. We have the Beast Null follow-up. And so offering the no condition transformation and during combat gains a guaranteed follow-up, so he's going to be slow. We also have Nightmare, so if he's attacked by a foe or the foe has at least 75% or more HP at the start of combat. During combat, the foe gets minus 10 to both attack and defense and gets their first attack's damage reduced by 30%. So all in all, not that surprising of a first ability for it. The minus 10 is definitely one of the bigger things. Since most cases I've seen maybe like minus 7, maybe minus 8 or 9, but I think this is the first time I've ever really seen 10. And then as a bonus, if he's attacked by a foe, after combat, any foes within four space, the closest foe that has not acted within 4 spaces of that foe immediately has their turn ended. So we've seen how devastating this effect can be with Sather. So her skill happens at the beginning of the turn. So it's saying that, oh, you don't get a movement for this one, but you still have allies that can move. This is during the middle of combat, middle of the opponent's turn, so they automatically lose 1 unit. Now, granted that this may not be the strongest effect because it is limited to that 4 space range. But the fact is that Fomortis is actually going to survive. We also have his Ravager. So both Ravager and Nightmare are from the game. We have accelerated special cooldown, and then at the start of combat, if unit's HP is 25% or greater, during combat, the foe gets a debuff to their attack of -6 to their attack and defense. So altogether, with both conditions being attacked by a foe, with both HP conditions being active, it's a -16. And then the foe also gets a cooldown charge -1 per attack. Then, if he's transformed, he gets plus cooldown charge +1 per attack. Then also, if he's at the double effect of having HP at least 25% and then being attacked by a foe, during combat, any follow-up attack damage is reduced by 80%. So normal weapons, it's the second attack. If it's a brave weapon, that means the third and fourth attack are going to be reduced. And then, of course, he has the adult armor, so +2 and distant counter. Okay, it's not as bad as Fallen Edelgard was, since she actually had way more. She actually had self-healing. She had way better damage reduction. She had full denial of follow-ups. She also had a skill that healed her, which was one of the more annoying things. And she had massive amounts of movement in addition to just being a nightmare at the time. In Fomortis' case, his kit is not as like you can still kill him. Like you, as long as you can either have a unit that says I don't care about reduction or I half cut reduction. But he does, as a note, he does have the unconditional transformation. He has Savior. He has a skill that can end foes' movements. He has a massive 16 total of a debuff option, as well as special fighter built into his weapon as long as he's transformed. And then just having no need for a denial since he just says, I reduce damage from follow-ups. So the basic hit is kill by beam from the sky. As he saves on a counter blow, he changes to just boxing, which is dual attack thanks to his beast skill. And he gets everything. So close. So because both Arvel and Crom were the same distance away, they are going to be ended. And actually, let me check just to be safe on that one. Yeah, so basically as long as the allies are within the same two spaces. So legitimately you can force the opponent's turn to end just from the first attack as long as all those units are within the same 4-space range. But of course, that's not all that we have, for we do have a second mythic. And this we have as the White Sage. We have Gotoh as a light defense mythic. So we have as continuing the Colorless Tome Infantry, drawn by Watari Shimomura, and then voiced by the late Motomu Kiyokawa, who unfortunately lost his life last year in August 17th. So this is another example of being a posthumous release for the voice actor. So this could be considered one of his last roles. But some other roles are Valkenhayn R. Helsing from Blaze Blue series, Arpeggio from Sly 2, and Hakama Shiranui from Medaka Box. So we have the creator of Starlight and the originator of Aura. So his kit includes from base, we have Iceberg and Joint Distant Drive. We have a brand new B skill for as Cancel 4, where it just copycats the original cooldown charge -1. It also reduces the foe's attack by 4 and also reduces the first attack's damage by 30%. All the meanwhile changing the base HP requirement from 80% to 25%. Then we have his exclusive A skill, the Gift of Magic. If he initiates combat or the foe's range is 2, the foe gets -10 to attack and res. The unit gets a guaranteed follow-up, and then any follow-up at any attacks beyond the second attack get reduced in damage by 80%. And then if the foe is a range 2 unit that initiates combat, if they can perform a follow-up attack, they perform it immediately after their base attack. So this is basically saying that it's basically Brave Ike's Refine in an A skill, where he's saying that if you can perform continuous attacks, I take less damage from that last attack. So this also means that any unit that can do brave attacks with Water Sweep will immediately have a very big problem dealing with his kit. Also, it's very nice to see a year 1 unit that has a refine from way long ago that was like one of the key units to being a good team for a starter player. In addition, for the fact that he's actually there with as a year one. It's just taking the year one and making it better. But we also have the Holy Starlight. So accelerates cooldown count -1. At the start of turn, if unit's HP is 25% or greater, he and any allies within 2 spaces gain defense res +6, and any damage done through AoE specials is reduced by 80% for that turn. And of course, this is ignoring the Rocker Siege ones. Then at the start of combat, if his HP is greater than or equal to 25%, he gives the foe a attack res debuff of 6. Any bonuses for those stats are nullified. And then if he also gets the null C disrupt, and after combat he recovers 7 HP. Woof, that's a lot. So basically he's doing what we've seen this before as selves in the form of the dual Asker, but not necessarily as the 80%, but we also saw it in, ironically, Fallen Leon for his Blood Tome ability. So the best thing is that it also gives it to allies. So it's a joint version of the skill. So we have joint AoE guard. We have debuff and penalty and bonus nullification. We have nullify the can't counterattack. So this also means that water sweep doesn't work against him. And recovery in his weapon. For his A skill, we have continuous attack damage reduction. We have a massive -10. So once again, if he's facing off against a range, so he kills range 2 units. He does not fare well against range 1. He has the cooldown count modifier. He has damage reduction in 2 skills. He also has just a basic buff to what he offers. Now, one thing that I will mention, in general, I don't like to mention this too much, but he gets murdered by Nana. Legendary Nana will murder him because she says, "Oh, I don't care that you have damage reduction. I simply go through that." So she hits twice and only does 1 attack worth. And then for the 10 remaining heroes, so we have 2 colorless. We have Legendary Edelgard, Legendary Dimitri, Mythic Freya, Regan, Ul, Ascended Hilda, Rearmed Leaf, Monica, Arvel, Legendary Veronica, as our 10 remaining heroes. So once again, this is a very stacked banner, and even the normal pools are actually really good. So first off, we have just Fallen Leaf. Colorless is always going to be the top because you have the Fomortis, you have Gotoh. You also have Arvel, who has the just massive attack and resistance, the bonus to the triangle advantage skill, and then just in general, he's a very one-shot kill unit. I'd say red comes next, because while red does have a repeat of Regan, we also have the revival of Legendary Veronica. But the biggest thing is we have our first ever revival for Rearmed Heroes. So this is a chance to get another copy of Rearmed Lif, which automatically vaults that to the same level, if not just 1 step below colorless, because 2 new units. Blue, I think, is the lowest, and that's because even though Uller has Deadeye as well as Life and Death 4, Dimitri just is a very good unit for Rocker Sieges just because he has that atrocity skill. But Monica, while she is good, she's also stuck as a normal unit. So I'd say that blue technically is one of the weakest. By far, it is not the worst set, but it's one of the weaker ones. As for green, it follows a little bit more because we do have a repeat of Mythic Freyr and the oldest unit being legendary Edelgard, who desperately needs a remix. But we also have Ascended Hilda, which is another one of those units where you do want to pull her as much as possible. So the two normal the I go in the unit order of colorless, red, green, and then blue in terms of value. This is a very, very good banner in and of itself, but I'd say that the value does come more from the colorless side than anything else. And then, of course, they give the Fey Pass exclusive Spark. So for more, this is one of those ones where if you pulled neither one of them, it really depends on what you need. Fomortis is really good just because he's a saver. So, and also the fact for that nightmare PRF. Goto's really good if you have a lot of units that don't fare well against AoE specials, especially with some teams running a lot of legendary Lilina as a full max with, oddly enough, high enough speed to double you. If you have every single colorless and don't want to pull any more of them, the Rearmed Leaf is always going to be your top choice because he again is not guaranteed to be in any summoning sessions whatsoever, as is all Rearmed heroes. If for some reason you already have, and even if you have plus 10, you can still book him afterwards. You can still do what you need with his kit. So that's another option. Everything else here is just what you choose. The only one that I would never choose unless you absolutely need her is Monica. So I'd say that in terms of value, just basic value of alone, Fomortis definitely has a little bit more value. But Gotoh is one of those examples where he could easily be like a slept on unit. And they could be very, very interesting to see what he offers. So, I mean, that's what I personally think. I don't know. I know that other people have said that Gotoh is really good for what it is. I think they're both really good for different reasons. But that's it for me today. This round. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in another video. Once again, subscribe if you like my content. Thank you.